I'd like to thank the IP Key team for this opportunity to participate in this prestigious conference. I'll be addressing the theme Developments in the Examination of Industrial Designs in a Digital World. So what does this mean? In a nutshell, I'll be explaining how we examine designs in the EUIPO today. This can be broken down into 4 different areas. First, I'll give you a bit of a background of exactly the volumes of filings and so on. Then I'll move on and explain how we actually do examination in a collaborative approach in the office today. I'll move on to talk about the tools that are currently in use in the office. And then finally, which links a bit to the previous presentation, of actually how we're using AI, image processing, and some other next generation tools in order to improve the examination process as a whole. So as we see here, the office would like to make our applicants aware of the benefits of using designs. What we see in large enterprises is in terms of employees that have registered IP rights, they have more employment, they generate more revenue per employee, and importantly, their employee enjoys a higher remuneration. We use this information in order to promote design registration within the EU. Now, let me remind you there are several ways to file designs within the EU. We have the national offices, we have regional offices, the Benelux, we have the EU itself, the EUIPO ourselves, or you have the international route via the EUIPO. In the case of the EU, we have 2 forms of design protection. One, the registered protection, which you can do with this office, which provides a protection of up to 25 years. Or alternatively, we have what we term the unregistered design, which once correctly disclosed to the informed public, i.e. those people working in that particular industry sector, are able to view that design, you will enjoy a protection of 3 years. So how are we doing actually with the filing itself? Overall, on average, we receive around 115,000 designs a year, where 15,000 of those come via the international route and the other 100,000 come via directly to the office. We have seen, like in other places in the world, we have seen a dip in 2022. However, I'm pleased to announce that in 2023, it looks like the overall year-to-year growth will be 3%, bringing us back up to 115,000 designs. So in your particular countries, I've taken some figures out to show you exactly the designs that we've received from Southeast Asia. I hope you find these interesting. So how do people file in general? And what is the overall process? Initially, our applicants file via e-filing. 99% of everything we receive come via e-filing. Then the examination is performed by the examiners. Normally in the region of 87% of these are registered directly, while 13% can raise what we call deficiencies or objections. In this case, for handling deficiencies, we will either call the applicant, we may send a correspondence via letter, or indeed today we also have video calls. The purpose of this contact, of course, is to overcome the deficiency raised. Overall, out of the 13%, we would resolve almost 100% of all of these deficiencies. with the general outcome that of all designs filed excuse me, within the office, 99% of them are registered, whilst a small percentage of less than 0.5% are finally refused. According to our deadlines, the examiner will have to file, and the team will have to file 100,000 designs per year, approximately. Our service charter, which is our commitment to our clients, we have said that if you file according to certain conditions where you use our indication of product database, we will register your design within 2 days. If, on the other hand, you prefer to use your own indication of product, we will commit to having that design registered within 9 days. So, taking that, let's say, commitment that the office has made with respect to the timeliness and the current volumes and increasing volumes all of the time, the office was faced with a question on how should we improve our efficiency in dealing with design examination. In the past, each designer used to work on her own. Today, we work in what we call a collaborative method, where all the designers meet together in one room, working on cases and sharing the results of those cases. What we see here are some photos, just for your interest, of what we call, this collaborative method is called DICE, for Designs Interactive Collaborative Examination. And as you see, this is the team within the office, within their room together. Now, how does this work in practice? In principle, the applications come in to the DICE room where the examiners are situated. The examiners work on files individually, but can share the results together with the colleague that's sitting next to them. And certainly, while in doubt, they can have any collaborative sessions amongst either their peer or other experts within the room. Upon completing the DICE, normally the design will be registered directly, i.e., the only work that needs to be done in this particular DICE session is to view the design, ensure that it's a design, and check the indication of product. All other work is fully automated, as you will see later. Otherwise, we go to what we term, if they have detected a deficiency, they will go to what we term second examination. And this second examination, again, they will call the user and try to overcome the deficiency and ideally register the case. In order to ensure the quality within the office, we have 3 checks before publication. First of all, for all cases that are examined within the DICE in the collaborative session, at least 10% of these cases are checked by an independent examiner. Secondly, when deficiencies are raised, and a second examiner is going to deal with that case and therefore review why there was a deficiency. If there is a difficulty, that examiner will go back to the first examiner. And finally, for refusals, before the refusal is sent, an expert in designs will review the whole case entirely. This ensures that we can manage both collaboration, consistency, and the quality. Now, what do we do for an examination? Essentially, we look at the quality of the views, the consistency of the views, the product indication, whether it corresponds to the design. Is the design definition correct? It is what we see effectively. Is the applicant from the EEA, i.e. the EU, plus 3 other countries within Europe? Does the design respect our public policy and morality, and have the fees been paid? So these are the main checks that are performed by the examiner. What we do not check, unlike many of you, is we do not check the novelty or the individual character of the design. We expect that the applicant does check, and we recommend that the applicant checks this prior to filing. So putting all this together, it was a brief overview of how we work. So we were faced with, as I said, increased volumes and the need to respect our timeliness with our applicants. So we had to also develop a tool for the digital environment. In the next slides, what were our aims? Our aims were for our customer to empower the customer, either via video calls prior to filing in order to ensure that the filing is correct. The examiner engagement, what we wanted to do was remove as much of the administrative work as possible that the examiner would have to do in order to examine the actual design. Example, preparing letters. This was very time consuming, which we wanted to remove. The process we knew had to be as efficient as possible, and therefore we had to automate all administrative work, including the checking of the applicants, the checking of the fees, the checking of the registration once completed by the examiner. And then finally, we wanted to improve on the reporting. So to know exactly the different types of deficiencies that were being raised at the time. So here is a look of the new tool that we have developed within the office to look after IP in general. And the design examination was included within this tool. This tool is called IP tool. Our part is IP tool for designs. This is the typical view an examiner will see upon opening this tool. Once the examiner has selected designs, the next step they will see is this panel, which provides them in a very quick and intuitive manner the number of pending designs that need to be examined. And as you know, we deal with several languages, 23 in total, and you will see these numbers indicate the number of applications that are pending to be examined in the given language. And all the examiner has to do is to pick the given language that they prefer to work in. It is also ordered by priority. So last in, first out. Here you will see a video of exactly how it is working. So the examiner requests some work. Over here, you'll see the days again. They pick a file in English. The file appears in their local inbox. They open the application, and this is the typical view an examiner will see of a design that needs to be examined. In order to look more closely at the views, the examiner has the option to look at this viewing tool. This will allow the examiner to examine more closely the views, and as we can see, they can zoom in, zoom out. They can scroll through the different views and compare one to the other. And when the examiner is satisfied that the views are okay, he or she can check the indication of product. And here we will see the list of the indication of product in all the different languages. If the examiner doesn't like the indication of product, they have an opportunity to search the database and to change it to a new indication of product to his or her standards. In this case, we have a fan, so they've searched for fan. We are not going to change the indication. So also in the event that the examiner identifies a deficiency, they're provided with this extra option where they can select the different views, and they're provided with the list of the most common deficiencies that are occurring within the office. This is a quick and easy way for them to select a deficiency. In this case, they haven't found a deficiency, so we will move on. Again, we see the 7 views, the indication of product, and now it's time to apply the filing date. The filing date is applied as the design meets the standards. And the next step is that the examiner validates and next. This design is now registered. And as you have seen, the whole process took approximately 2 minutes to register a design in a nice, intuitive, and easy way. So our next issue was we asked that we needed to capture the different types of deficiencies that the office faced, as this takes considerable amount of time and resources in order to process. Part of the tool, because now the examiner selects systematically the different types of deficiencies, we can very easily identify the different deficiency types. In this case, we know that 27% out of the deficiencies we receive, about 1/4 have problems with inconsistent designs or different designs. 1/3 are related to product indication, while others may be poor quality, additional elements, and so on. So this information allows us also to use this information to provide better and more clearer information to our applicants on our website at the time of filing. So, design examination and image processing efficiency gains. Following on the previous talk, we can look at overall today within the office. As we've mentioned, the examiners work in the dice room. In the dice room, they examine, and by default, 85% of what's done in the dice room is registered directly. Another 13% is sent to a second examiner in order to resolve a identified deficiency. From a time point of view, which is interesting for us, in the morning, an examiner will, on average, examine 15 applications. That represents 50% of their time. Whilst in the afternoon, they will resolve 3 deficiencies, which is about 40% of their time. So we are very interested in trying to reduce the number of deficiencies in order to make an efficiency gain. And we have chosen to use the AI image processing. So where are we today with this development? As you'll see, I'll speak a wee bit about the different types of deficiencies to make it clearer. So this is a poor background, it's a bad quality, and it's an additional elements are added. As you can see, the design itself is a game controller. Other problems: if this collection of game controllers was sent as one design, these are clearly 2 different designs. This being the first design and that being the second design. Colors. So the color of this controller is different from the color presented in view number 1. This must be consistent in our office practices. What we wanted to do, we wanted to use AI in order to identify initially these particular deficiencies in order to help the examiner do their work. As a first step, we developed a tool which at the beginning allowed us to identify if there was an anomaly with a particular view within a design application. In this example I'm showing you, the AI tool identified this view with an anomaly because these additional elements, as we refer to them, are not allowed. Whereas it also identified this view as the color was different from the main color presented in the other views. So this is how we would like it to be done. So after testing, our results are as follows. The experts testing, i.e. those who developed the tool and delivered the tool to the office, ascertained that over 70% of all deficiencies can be identified using the AI processing tool. Whereas on asking the examiners to perform the same tests, they identified less, approximately 60%. So what was our next step, as we were not still confident enough that this tool was accurate enough in order to help the examiner? So our next step, which we are currently doing at the moment, is that today we present the examiner with the result of the AI. The examiner sees that, and the examiner can validate whether the result of the AI was correct or not. And when this is not correct or correct, all of the time, AI, the machine learning, is picking up these different results. And just for example, within 6 months, we expect that the AI tool will have processed over 50,000 designs, which will be approximately 7,000 of those will have deficiencies. So each time the examiner will indicate if the AI was correct or not correct, or indeed if the examiner has to add other deficiencies, allowing AI to continually learn and improve the overall result. So once we are satisfied, which at the moment, as I said, it's work in progress, once we are satisfied that the AI tool has identified correctly the anomalies with all of these views and design applications, we will introduce the AI tool at the e-filing level. This then will allow the applicant, in order to see straight away on any of the views that they've attached, whether there was a deficiency, and indicating what the deficiency is directly, essentially before they file. This will save both the applicant a considerable amount of time and, of course, the office. That is one initiative which is ongoing in order to improve the examination efficiency. Now, building on the AI, as it becomes more and more intelligent on being able to identify deficiencies, we hope also in the future that we will be in a position that AI will be able to identify the indication of product. As you will have seen, the indication of product causes about 33% of all the deficiencies. So therefore, we would like a tool that again suggests to the applicant at the time of filing what the correct indication of product is using AI. This has a long way to go yet. And then finally, looking at the final part, the office, we do already accept 3D designs. They are not considered for protection. The applicant is obliged today in order to submit the 3D, but also the corresponding 7 views. However, we would like to improve this tool and provide the applicant with more options in order to present their tool in a clear and easy way to understand. Here is an example of what we are doing. So as you will see, this is a typical 3D design. And we will provide this tool in order for the user then to view their design properly. They will also be able to change, without changing the actual design, but actually change some of on how we see that view in order to improve how it's seen and then displayed finally within our exterior systems. It's a pretty straightforward tool. As you will see, we're giving ways for them in order to ensure that they cover each and every view of the design. And that basically ends the presentation. I hope you have enjoyed it. Essentially, just to wrap up, we could say in 3 simple ways that the office has developed, let's say, an efficient and practical approach to design examination. First, building a new tool that allows examiners focus only on the substance of the examination, that is, looking at the views and checking the indication of product. Second, where I'm trying to identify deficiencies more easily and rapidly. And then third, for the future, providing those tools to our clients outside in order for them to avoid the initial error in the first place. So with that, I hope you enjoyed that presentation.
Thank you very much, Eamonn. I certainly did enjoy the presentation. Just a couple of questions. How long is what's the average turnaround time for the registration of designs in the EUIP?
The average turnaround time is around 3 days at the moment.
You know,
it's like
very fast.
Yeah, because we have the advantage, unlike I think most of the countries in the world, actually, we have the advantage that we do not check for novelty. We insist with our applicant that they must check for that. So in essence, our examination is about ensuring that the views provided is an actual design and then making sure it matches with the given indication of product. So the work we do is also considerably, let's say, shorter than maybe what you would have in your countries.
So what remedies would a third party have in case the design that is registered is similar to the design of another individual?
Yeah, we have a what we call an invalidity process where an applicant can try to invalidate a registered design. Today, let's say out of the 100,000 designs we receive, we have about 600 cases per year where, let's say, a registered design, for want of a better word, is attacked by someone who is claiming that they had the prior design rights. Out of the 600, normally in the region of 80% are actually result in the cancellation of the registered design.
Thank you. And how long is the invalidity process on the average?
The invalidity process can take probably up to about 1 year. It depends. It obviously depends on. In principle, the first part, the invalidity proceedings, where we try to give both parties the opportunity to discuss between them initially, and then after that, the actual taking of the decision, normally we will take it in about 2 months. So it depends a bit on the applicant and the person who's the holder of the registered right with the office.
Thank you. There's another question. Does the EU examine? I think this is several designs in one application. And can this design be registered? Can the application be registered without examination? Several designs in an application.
Yeah. We accept multiple design applications, what we would call, right? But in principle, they are treated from an examination point of view. They're treated as individual designs, so each of the designs must be examined. What the applicant must respect, on the other hand, is that the actual classification must be the same in what we call the unity of class. In that, as an example, if the application covers furniture, which under our system, under the Locarno system, under the EUIPO system, is class 6, all of those designs within that multiple application need to be in class 6. Now, I say that now, but I can also say we are currently going through a legal reform, and there is a discussion ongoing on whether we should continue with this, let's call it a constraint, in that should we allow applicants file multiple applications, but in whatever class they like for each design within that application.